This is a Glendale Library Arts and Culture program, created for teens, edited and hosted by the Teen Library staff. Check out community service opportunities and teen events down in the description box.
Hi everyone, this is Melissa.
And Desiree.
Welcome to the guest episode of Teen Gen Talks.
Today's guest grew up in Chicago, Illinois until the age of 11 when her family moved to St. Louis, Missouri area. She worked lots of customer service jobs such as gas station attendant, Subway sandwich artist, car wash attendant, and so on. By 2019, she was employed by the city of Glendale.
Grab a snack and drink, and let's welcome Selena Rivera-Cereno to Teen Gen Talks.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you, Selena, for taking the time out of your day to talk with us. We have a lot to discuss.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's kick off this interview. You grew up in Chicago and moved to St. Louis. What is something you miss about those places?
I really miss the winter time because here in California, it's just hot all the time, and I love the cold weather. So I love like being bundled. I love the snow and just like the seasons changing. It's like a big difference from there and here.
And going back to middle school, what made you want to volunteer at your school library?
To be honest, I had this study hall teacher who I really didn't like. Like, he was very strict. It was like had to be very silent. So I just didn't like the environment of study hall. And I heard that you could volunteer at the library during the study hall hour to get out of it. I signed up and just thought it was going to be like, something to get me out. And it was a lot of fun. I got to work at the front desk and like check out the books to the students, and I got to mend books. I taught myself how to use the typewriter to like create little spine labels. So I would actually use the typewriter to create like stickers for myself. Like I would just type whatever, like little name tags and stuff for myself. Or we had like a button maker. And so I would make all my friends like High School Musical buttons and all of those kinds of stuff. So it was really fun to work at the library, and my friends also volunteered. So it was kind of like a bonding experience.
Do you think like in that moment, that's when like you fell in love with the library more?
Yeah, I didn't really think about it much at the time, but I did know that I enjoyed working at the library. But looking back, I had worked many jobs after high school, and none of them really clicked. Like I didn't enjoy doing any of those tasks. So I definitely always thought about like working in the middle school library and just how fun it was to connect with people about books and just have like these fun programs to participate in. So I definitely think that I fell in love with reading and with the love of libraries, because before then I actually didn't enjoy reading at all. I just joined the library just to get out of that class. I had no interest in books whatsoever, but being in that environment and seeing all these people read, I finally was able to find books that I enjoyed. I was always really into those like spooky books, like Goosebumps and just anything like mystery type. I loved it. And before then, like those aren't really the books that the teachers recommend for reading or anything like that. When I started at the library, I found my place.
And you mentioned how you took a few years off after high school. What did you learn about yourself during those years? I
learned that I liked working jobs that included customer service. I loved going into work and having to deal with the public. Any job that I had where I had to interact with people, I enjoyed, because people can really make your day. They can also make, a bad day for you. But for the most part, I feel like people lift each other up and can really turn your day around. So I really enjoyed that about jobs. And I also learned that I enjoyed places with children because I really, or just like any kind of kid environment, I feel like it's more silly and just easier to be yourself around children. There's kind of no judgment there. So
for a teen feeling the pressure to decide what to do with their lives after high school, what is some advice you would tell them?
I would say don't worry about it. To be honest, I never worried about it. Since like preschool, kindergarten, I always remembered that the teachers would ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they would always read these books about careers and always ask that question all throughout my life, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I never had an answer for that question. I remember I would just like look around the classroom and I would look for anything as a clue. I would like look at the bathroom and I would think, okay, I'm going to be a plumber. And then that would be my answer, you know, literally anything that gave me inspiration. I would just look at the other kids' answers and go off of that because I never had a clue about what I liked or, you know, what I wanted to be. And I didn't figure that out until way after high school. And so I think that there's a lot of pressure from parents, teachers, like society, your peers to choose something. And I think that you shouldn't feel pressured into doing, you know, something or like giving those answers because it's not really like necessary to decide so early on in your life. We have a whole life to live. I'm young. I don't know. Maybe I could wake up one day and decide library field isn't for me and I could change it. And that's totally fine. It's my decision. And I hope that in my life, I find multiple passions, you know, and different places that I feel comfortable working in. So I think everyone should just take a breather. You know, it's not that serious, like a little bit, but like not too serious. So just enjoy the moment, find things that you enjoy and just go off of that.
Do you have a favorite and least favorite customer service job?
Yes. My favorite is the library. I love helping people. I feel very accomplished when I leave work. I always feel happy when I can find a book on the shelf or, you know, it feels really good to give someone the book that they need. But my least favorite job was probably a tie. I used to work at Subway. I was a sandwich artist. And I've had a lot of people, I think when you are in the food industry, there's a lot of people that get hangry. And so they're very irrational. I remember someone one time threw a sandwich at me, like at my head, because they said that that it was too cold by the time they got home. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't help the time that it takes for you to go home, that your sandwich is going to be cold 20 minutes later. Like, live closer, find a closer Subway. I don't know. So I think the Subway job was awful. I always smelled like pepperoni and salami when I got home, you know, like, I can't even eat Subway anymore. I just can't do it. I just got so tired of that place. But it wasn't really the people. It was just the food. And one time someone threw a sandwich at me, qualifies it for the worst job. Then I also worked at a car wash. It was for a dealership. So we were always very busy with dealership cars and then the public of anyone who wanted to come in for a car wash. But in the winter time, because it was Illinois, the floor would like freeze over, like all the water would just freeze. And so I was like, it was outside. And so everything, like the ground was frozen. I remember slipping and falling all the time on my face. But it got me extra tips. Like, I think people felt really bad when they saw me fall. So, I mean, it made me more money, but at the end of the day, I was like covered in bruises and like freezing cold.
You landed your job at Mississippi Valley Library District. How did you find your way back to working at a library?
Well, after the car wash job, I was just looking for anything that was inside. I saw that the library was hiring, and it reminded me of how much I loved working at the library in middle school. So I just applied hoping to hear back. And so the population was mainly Hispanic. And since I am bilingual, they really needed my services to connect with the public. And as soon as I started, I fell in love with that library. I mostly loved the children's area and the teen area because I felt like they had the most like outgoing programs. It never felt like a job. It always just felt like I was going into work to see my friends and to see like the regular patrons, felt like friends and family to me at that point. So it felt like a magical place to work.
In 2019, you started working for the city of Glendale. How did that opportunity arise?
Well, I knew that I wanted to continue working in libraries. And since that time from working at the Mississippi Valley Library District, I moved to California and I needed a job in the library field. So I spent like a year just scouring all of the city websites looking for library positions. And finally, I found Glendale. It's close enough to my home, so it worked out really well. I felt like the hiring process was a lot better than some of the other libraries because they did have other interviews. But some of the other interviews, like I got asked weird questions like, what would you do if a patron like punched you in the face or something crazy like that? And I was like, I don't know if I want to work in these libraries. But Glendale didn't ask me any of those crazy questions. So I was like, it's probably a pretty decent place to work.
Speaking about interviews, what are some tips that you can share for people that I guess are going into interviews and are kind of nervous?
I would say that the biggest tip that I have is to research the place that you're applying for, because usually during the interviews they do ask why you want to work there, and sometimes like questions about the company, their mission statement, things of that nature. So I always recommend doing the research, check out their website. The About Us and contact information on the website are really helpful. And they make you, I think they make you seem more professional and prepared.
Do you have a favorite program that the library holds?
Okay, ooh, that's a hard one. I know at the Grandview Library, that's typically the branch that I am working, we have a painting program for teens, and we have a librarian who comes and she instructs the teens on how to paint something specific, and they kind of just follow her lead, and she's very fun. The teens also feel kind of like her friends, and then sometimes I've been able to kind of join in and follow along. So I think that one's a good one.
So before we end, we have some rapid fire questions to ask. The first question is, what is your favorite color?
Purple.
What is something you have been proud to say that you have accomplished?
When I worked at the Mississippi Library Valley District, I was voted favorite librarian, and I felt very superior to my coworkers. Like I was the most loved, you know. So I was pretty proud of that.
What is the last video game that you bought?
Tony Hawk Pro Skater. But right before that, I bought Fall Guys. I don't know if you guys have ever played it. It's these little characters that look kind of like beans, and you could just play with online with 59 other players. So you're kind of like in this obstacle course, and you have to be the last to survive like a couple of rounds of an obstacle course. But they're just like these little chubby beans, and they just kind of like waddle around, and so you try not to fall. And if you fall, you're eliminated. It's just like a silly, fun game that I play with my friends.
What's the last record that you bought?
The last record. I actually just went to the record store a couple of weeks ago. It was The Cramps.
If you could have 3 people, dead or alive, for dinner guests, who would it be?
3 people?
Yes.
It would have to be Selena Quintanilla. I was named after her. Really curious about her life. That would be one. I love Conan O'Brien. He's my favorite talk show host. I sit and watch like so many of his videos on YouTube and watch the show constantly. So I'm obsessed with him. And then I think I would talk to Alex Turner from Arctic Monkeys. Really into that band.
Who's your first celebrity crush?
My first celebrity crush was this boy from the movie The Sandlot, Benny the Jet Rodriguez. I don't know if you guys remember, but that was my boyfriend. I literally thought he was my boyfriend, and anyone else that said he was cute, I would get super upset, and I'd be like, he's not your boyfriend. He's my boyfriend. Like that. So yeah, definitely him.
What does success for you mean right now?
Success to me always means happiness. So it's not about what car I drive, my career. It's always just making sure that whatever I do in life is something that I'm happy with, that I'm content with, and that will just I'm happy with where I am in life, temporarily, but long term as well.
What show are you currently watching?
Many shows. That's always something that I'm always like starting and stopping. I watch some anime shows. So there's Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, Attack on Titan. I also started The Runaways because we talked about that in our
Yeah.
club. So I started The Runaways. I am constantly watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's just so pure. I love that show so much. But I also started watching some adult shows as well. So I started watching The Watchmen. That's really good. Also, kind of all graphic novel, manga kind of things here. But yeah, that's what I'm watching right now.
What is a book that you have recently read or are currently reading that you would recommend?
I just finished Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. It is just as amazing as I thought it was going to be. It was definitely worth the wait of like 10 years or however long it took for her to write it. My 12-year-old self was screaming as I was reading this book. So anyone who enjoyed the Twilight series, I would definitely recommend reading Midnight Sun. And I also started reading Chibi Vampire. It's a manga. I just started it, but so far it's like a little racy, a little on the mature content side for the teen genre. But I'm enjoying it.
Thank you, Selena. We learned a lot about you. Can you let everyone at home know about any upcoming projects and where they can connect with you?
Sure. I am on the teen page of the Glendale Library website. You can find me making a bunch of book reviews. I think I'm a little critical of the book, but I'm sure that everyone will enjoy them.
Yay. Thank you so much, Selena.
Thanks for having me.
Did you enjoy this episode? If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Glendale Library Arts and Culture channel.
Tune in every Friday at 4:30 for Teen Gen Talks. And if you would like to contact us and be part of the Teen Gen Talks, please email us at teengentalks@glendaleca.gov. Thank you. See you next episode.
Bye.
Bye.